very much. Well, I feel very honoured to be here, especially since you've all come out on a beautiful day, and you couldn't have chosen it better, really. I enjoy coming to Lanercost, so that's the most important thing. And yes, I do support local food producers, and that's what I do for a living, in any way I possibly can. But obviously, Lanercost are doing their bit on this edge of Hadrian's Wall as well, so a great partnership working together with them now. Joanne, do you want to take any drinks orders just in case?
Want any drink?
Soft drinks or anybody want anything? Just so that it's done. And then and we
as we're bringing the dishes through, please feel free to ask what you do.
So what I've done is to create a menu for your lunch today, where I've put my recipes, and Blair in the kitchen has cooked them. It's actually Blair and Deborah who are in the kitchen here, showcasing Cumbria's food producers. And I'm going to give you one of these each so that you can take them away, and if you like what you've eaten today, you can try it yourself. And also, if you like what you've eaten today, you can go and buy the ingredients, because they have them in the little food hall that they've got here. So if I just pass these around, there's about 8 of you on each table. There. I think there. And Christian's got one there. I've got one each for you there. I didn't want to give you too much paperwork to play with, otherwise you're going to end up, not knowing what to do with it. That's lovely. But as long as everybody has got something, then you can also see. Otherwise, if you want to put them away, that's up to you, or just go through them as we're going with each of the recipes. I've also given you my own brochure. My business name is Cumbria on a Plate, and that came about from trying to explain to somebody what I did, and she was trying to do a graphic design for me, and I said, well, it's just Cumbria on a plate, and she said, there you go. And then she proceeded to draw me a plate that had daffodils and mountains on it. And I said, no, it's far too fussy. But I have actually had these made now by a company in Staffordshire, made from Foley China from Stoke-on-Trent. But I've now found somebody in Maryport who is doing bone china, so they will do the next lot. So everything is going to come out on a Cumbria on a plate, fine bone china today. I do have them for sale if anybody would like one for your own use at the same time. But here we've got a brief detail of what I do. I run food safaris where I try to connect you to the food producers themselves. I used to be a tour guide at Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, and I loved being outside with people and showing off this wonderful waterfall. And when I got to Cumbria, I thought I knew so much about the food here, and the food just kept on coming, and I thought, right, let's marry these two up together. So I still take people out and about, but I take them to see food instead of running water. And we go out to all sorts of places. This is the bull called Borrowdale, who is at Croft Farm in Houghton, and this is Susan Aglionby's big bull, and it's a longhorn bull, which has a Cumbrian connection as well. I take them to cheese farms. We make Cumberland sausage sometimes. There's all sorts of things that we can do, but a lot of the producers that we're showing off today are places that I take people to. So if you like what you taste and you want to learn more, that might be a way forward for you. I also run a small dining club in Cumbria, but we cross the border into Scotland occasionally too. So if you enjoy going out for a meal occasionally, like to have the wines match with the meal, and like somebody else to do the organising of it, then that might be something you're interested in. Come and chat to me afterwards. I've included the little bits and pieces about the different food producers that we've got here, and I'll talk about them as we go through the lunchtime. So I think we'll start with the very first dish, and bear in mind this is not a cookery demonstration today, because when you're doing a cookery demonstration you can't always see actually what's happening when you're a large group of people, so I thought it's better that they they cook, you've got the ingredients, and I can talk about it while you're tasting it, and that's the best way forward with my Cumbria on a plate tastings. But on saying that, I am going to do 2 small little demos during the course of the lunch. So the first thing that's coming out, I think everybody now has in front of you, thank you. It's actually something I did make, and I made them yesterday. And these are little herb scones. Now, the chives are up in the garden. Anybody else a gardener here? Enjoy growing. Have you seen how big the chives are? They're just absolutely fabulous. Cut them off. So these actually have fresh chives from the garden and thyme, but the thyme wasn't from the garden. And I make this particular scone using natural yoghurt. And I find that if you use yoghurt or sour milk or sour buttermilk, it makes a much lighter scone. So I have used what's called 85% flour. Now this comes from the watermill at Little Salkeld. It is English wheat that is grown specially for them, and it's sent up to Little Salkeld, and it is powered by water. The rain coming off the Pennines comes down and runs the watermill as it's been doing for 200 years. It used to be an agricultural feed mill, so the big grinding wheels were made of sandstone. But of course, when you put something that we're going to eat, like flour, across sandstone, it breaks down and you get grit in it. So they use that for animal feed, but they now have something called burr stone, B-U-R-R, which is a very hard stone, and that is used to grind the wheat, English wheat. And this is what's called 85%, and this is the flour I used. 85% is the English wheat coming through the mill, and when it's been milled once, it is 100%, what's called 100% wholemeal flour. That is then sieved, and 15% is taken out of it, of the heavier bran, and what you're left with then is 85% flour. This is a really useful flour for making sponge cakes, nice light sponge cakes, scones, pastries, and it's not the sort of thing that you think, oh, it's not wholemeal, because wholemeal often is too heavy, certainly for sponge cakes, in my opinion and in my experience. But this is just great. And they do it both as a self-raising, so it has a raising agent added to it, or plain like that. A lot of you are nodding. Does that mean you enjoy baking? Yes. Good. It's so good to hear that people still enjoy it and enjoy eating it as well. So that's the flour that I've used for these particular scones. I've then topped them with just plain cream cheese, but on top of that is Wild and Fruitful's hedgerow jelly. Now, Wild and Fruitful is a company in Wigton, and it's run by Jane Maggs. And she's just the queen of preserves as far as I'm concerned. She makes all sorts of different jams, preserves. I'm actually going to be using a cider vinegar from her later on as well, using a Cumbrian cider vinegar. This hedgerow jelly was product of the year in 2003. And what she does is she goes along the hedgerows in the autumn and she picks what's ripe. So she's using rowan and hips and haws, and she makes this jelly, which is quite dark. It does have a little chilli in it, if I remember rightly. Yes, she's got dried chilies in it. So the rose hips are from Maryport. The hawthorn haws are from Maryport. The crab apples are from Heskett Newmarket. And then she uses vinegar, chilies and citric acid as the gelling agent. So it's something that has become one of her standard pieces, and it is a savoury jelly. It's wonderful with cold meats, it's wonderful with hot meats as well, and I like to eat it just with cream cheese on scones. So would you like to take a scone each and help yourselves? Some of it you might need to use a knife just to just roll off someone there.